Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily, and I like you both in and out of context, and I hope you feel the same way about me. Hey, sometimes things are better out of context, you know what I mean? Well, I'm here with the Context V2 by Red Panda, and first things first, thank you to Sweetwater and Red Panda for sponsoring this video. Sweetwater sent me a couple Red Panda pedals to try out, and this is one of them. It is their Reverb, and I like it a lot. So if there's anything in the world you're interested in getting, please consider checking it out on Sweetwater, and please consider using the affiliate link in the video description. It's a great way to support the channel, doing things that, let's be honest with ourselves and each other, we were probably going to do anyway. All right, let's go ahead and get to the controls. Up here at the top, we have blend. That's the mix. It goes all the way wet. We have pre, that's the amount of pre-delay, the time it takes for you to stop playing and the reverb to actually start. Decay is the length of that reverb. And then here are these two smaller knobs. We have high and low. These control, you can think of them as an EQ. One boosts or cuts the high, and one does the same for the low. Nothing is harder to say in demos for me than boosts and cuts. You try saying it. Here we have the algorithm selector. There are 8. It starts with kind of the smallest, most normal room, hall, then cathedral, so getting bigger, spacious, bouncier. Then we have gate and reverse. So those are kind of more unique algorithms that people still use a lot. Then we have 2 very common studio ones, plate and spring. And then we have grain. So plate, spring, and grain are new in the V2. Finally, we have modulation. For most of these, it's just kind of, a warble, vibrato-esque kind of thing. You can control the rate of that and secondary controls. I'll touch on those. I'm not going to use very many of them in the demo, though it does unlock a lot more with this pedal. Essentially makes it so that it has reverb and delay at the same time. The only exceptions for modulation, there are 2, and they are in reverse and spring, and we'll get there when we get there. So let's go ahead and do some playing now, shall we? So I don't have reverb on. You're just gonna hear the amp. It's the Benson Chimera plugin from Mixwave, my Elvis Costello signature jazz master. So basically no pre-delay and not a very big size. Blend is in the middle, so let's just turn up the decay a little bit. So I think a little bit of pre-delay makes it a lot more natural sounding. Because if you're in a real room, hall, or cathedral, it's going to take a little bit of time for the sound to find the wall and then bounce back off of it. Right now I have high and low all the way up, but I do want to tune that. And let's try adding some modulation. Ah, you heard it there. So if you turn up the decay, you can really hear the modulation. It's a lot more subtle with a little bit less decay. So let's turn that back down. Let's go ahead and check out the hall reverb. So like with the room, and it'll be the same with the Cathedral, pre-delay does make it sound more natural versus maybe even a little bit more, to account for the fact that the room is larger now. We're in a hall. We're moving on up in the gig world. I thought that sounded pretty good. I can't stress enough how much I like having some EQ controls, or at least some filtering controls for high and low on a reverb pedal. Really, really underrated stuff. This is where I think you really want to do that EQ. Nice. Turn up the decay, make it really spooky. Again, the more you turn up the decay, the easier it is to, in my opinion, get a little out of control with the modulation. I like it to be subtle but obvious, just adding some movement, a little bit of weirdness, kind of coolness to it. But I don't want it to sound like super vibrato-y, but that's just me. Maybe that's what you like. It's a really cool modulation though. All right, let's go on to gate. This one has secondary controls that you're definitely going to want to use. They are where the high and low is. High is going to set the dynamics release, and low is going to set the dynamics threshold. So I double tap shift, it turns teal, and I can set the low as the threshold. So this sets the signal level where the dynamics kick in. LED is green for when the signal's below the threshold, and red when it's behind it. So if we turn it all the way down, it's not ever going to turn red, but you're going to want to fine tune that. And then for the high, to the right, to the right, it's a reverb expander. Left is a ducking reverb. Yeah, so this is not my favorite. So when it's red, no, no reverb. Yeah, I'll be honest, I've been struggling to get that exactly where I want it. There we go. That was a little bit better. Adjusting the high as well. So that works, that works. It's, yeah, I just kind of don't like it as much as other Gator reverbs I've liked. Next, we have reverse. So I'm gonna set the pre-delay down on that one. Gonna turn the high and low back up. I'm gonna turn off the modulation because for this one, reverse, you get forward reverb as the modulation. And the decay up. Yeah, now you're starting to get that reverse, eh? All right, and let's hear it with the forward reverb blended in. I'm not the world's biggest fan of reverse reverb, but it's always a pleasure, always pretty fun. Next, we're gonna go to plate. I'm gonna have a very light amount of pre-delay on that, start with the decay down. I'm a big fan of plate. This is another one where I really think having EQ is clutch. Can't go wrong with a great plate reverb, and that is a great plate reverb. Let's go to spring. Very popular in surf and country. Maybe not that much in country. Why am I not hitting that one of those notes right? Pre-delay, a little slap backy. I sure do drip. Oh, and the optional modulation on this is tremolo. That's one where I really would like to change the rate on it. This one's actually a really fun one to turn the decay up all the way. You don't usually hear a spring reverb that has a decay that's that long. The tremolo can get pretty overwhelming on that one. That's the only mode really where I feel like the modulation can kind of run away with it. Last but not least, we have grain. I'm just going to read what it says about grain. Creates ghostly modulated feedback in clouds of sound fragments. Everyone does grain a little bit differently, so this is how Red Panda does it. Try it without the modulation first. It's going to behoove you to turn up it's going to behoove you to turn up decay on this one. And you can EQ that woofiness right out of there. Trails. Well, I don't know what else to say. That's just a lovely reverb. I like the vast majority of the modes on this. The only one that just didn't resonate with me particularly was Gate. And you know, reverse is not something I would probably use very much either. Grain is definitely its own thing. It's not super glitchy grain reverb, but it's really unique. It's got a nice flavor and it's spooky, definitely ambient, really cool. And then you have just some really nice traditional kinds of reverbs. And I think that this really excels at the room, hall, cathedral, plate, spring, and grain. Those are the reverbs I would use. I think they're just lovely. And yeah, so there you have it. It's the Context V2 by Red Panda. Again, thank you to Sweetwater. And again, please consider using the affiliate links in the video description for Sweetwater. Great way to support this channel. You can also support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. If you want to support the channel financially and directly, you can give a super chat or say thanks down below. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/getoffset. For as little as $5 a month, you get access to our exclusive Discord server. A lot of fun stuff happening there. We also have merch at getoffsetpodcast.com/shop. So to everybody out there, thanks for watching. Thanks for understanding. Until next time, my name is Emily. Goodbye.